Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reviewing Terminator Zero that just came out, which I guess it came out on Judgment Day. I guess that's their whole marketing plan. Did you know that? They purposely released a series August 29th to coincide with Judgment Day.
You know, it never even occurred to me.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of a Terminator nerd. I actually went through and watched all of them again just recently. So I have there's a lot of bad ones, let's be honest. There is. I think the only true ones are the first and second one. But by the end of this review, because this is our first review officially on the channel, we're going to give you a recommendation of at the end of just, if you would agree, on recommend or don't recommend. Just keep it black and white. Very simple. You know, there's no gray area. It's just like, do we recommend it or do we not?
Are we going to start on just episode 1, or are we waiting for the whole series?
Let's start episode 1. That's it. We're on this episode today. We're going to do just episode 1. So that was a good question. And then if you enjoy this review, then we'll continue reviewing the whole series. The whole idea is do we even recommend going past episode 1 and just is it even worth it? Because that's the interesting thing. Netflix released all the episodes all at once, which how did you feel about? I thought that was a kind of a strange move. It's just here you go. Here's every episode, which I know some shows do where they allow you to binge watch them. You know,
right?
I'm a little.
I like it, because it does give somebody access to kind of do all of it at once if they aren't certain of their timeline, and then you can kind of break it up if you don't want to do it all at once. But I like at least having the option.
The option is nice. I just, at this point, I'm like, why not just release it as a movie then? Or were they not confident in the story just to okay, well then the first episode is not going to have repeat. You know, the hope is that they keep spiraling as they keep watching. I know with The Boys, I just want everything all at once, because it's just that good. But if the first episode can't even hook you in, then what makes you think you're going to keep watching afterwards is kind of what I was writing down and was concerned about.
So I think it comes down to two things. First thing is episodic means you have stopping points, which allows people who feel like they don't have the time to commit to a large chunk at once, like the ability to break it up as they see fit. So if they can only do 25 minutes at a time, they watch the 25 and then come back later. Or they, binge watch through all of it because that's what they wanted to do at once. And then the second thing is something that we both agreed was pretty interesting, which is this is done like an anime.
Yeah.
And so with that, I think it has to be episodic just because that's traditionally how anime is consumed.
True. I by the way, I will later we'll get into more spoilers because this is the first episode. I think we should just get into details because they even released 6 minutes of the first episode. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know how much it really sets up, in my opinion, after watching it. Did you watch it in English or Japanese?
I watched it in English because I didn't realize it was going to be an anime until it started. And after that, I was just already in. So
I'm going to focus on positives first. We both agree because I saw you talking about it. The animation, I love the fact that it's animated.
It's very traditional too.
Yes,
it feels like an older school animation, anime style.
It feels gritty. It feels more. I don't know why. Even the action feels more gruesome because of it. I know you said this in one of your notes. Very Ghost in a Shell.
Yes, it reminded me a lot of the first time watching Ghost in the Shell, the original one, not the Scarlett Johansson one.
yeah, the original, the one that changed the industry forever. I love everything about it, and it almost makes. I saw the trailers, so some of the trailers showcase some later stuff, which I love the way they even showcase the Terminators more. It's almost like because you don't have to rely on the actors, you can let the animation do the work for you of making them feel so much more menacing on the screen.
Yeah, 100%.
I think what a lot of the other Terminators really lacked fear. I would say Terminator 3, Dark Fate, Genesis, Salvation, they lost that fear factor. This was all supposed to be a horror film to begin with,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the Terminator 2 was great because Robert Patrick is the T-1000 he was horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
One of the facts that you'll hear posted here on the channel is the fact that he held his breath during the running scene, so he appeared more menacing or, just unhuman the way because he was sprinting at such a Mach speed, essentially,
Yeah, and it's really impressive they found an actor that can actually melt through bars. It's hard to find that in Hollywood nowadays.
Yeah.
Commitment.
I feel like they should have paid him more.
They really should have.
Could you imagine the resume just says, "Can you melt?" Yeah, I can. He should get hired, maybe.
Yeah. He might be good for the role.
He might be. I mean, Arnold can't melt, so he can't play
No.
the T-1000.
No.
Now, I mean, that's kind of where a lot. Oh, the music. The music choice, I was a little worried about it feeling like, this isn't Terminator, but I actually like the soundtrack as well.
It sounded good. I especially liked the end music when it's really giving that like Skynet montage kind of feel.
Yes.
Especially the setup for what's going to be, of course, the temporal jump, the pretty much bread and butter sale of the entire Terminator series. That whole time travel meets futuristic weaponry meets old-fashioned violence.
Yeah. Now, that's kind of where my positive end for now.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to leave more positives for you. How do you feel more about the first episode?
Well, with it being episodic, I felt like they left enough like clear lines of characters that are going to be like definitive. Like we've got the girl who attacks at the very beginning, which is kind of mysterious and dark and does the thing and saves the day in that one fight.
Yeah.
And then you've got the prophet, which seems to have some sort of information about how to utilize this tool she comes back in with. And then in like past fight, which is going to be present fight when the temporal jump and all that. That's where time travel gets confusing in movies.
Yeah.
But the main character is he looks really old for 28 or 32, right?
Yeah, he's 32. His name is Malcolm Lee, and he looks like he's 60 or 40 or something like that. I don't know.
He's got that like extremely gray beard thing going on, and it makes
why my age range is like all over the place. I'm like, how old are you?
Yeah, and then they hit us with old Gladys in that room.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, Hal, kind of situation. But started producing bodies. So my question is, like, I've got a lot of questions. It left a lot of open-ended with like good questions. Like I didn't go. There wasn't moments where I was like, robot cat, why does that exist? Like.
Yeah, I guess you know what, that is a more positive. I guess I wasn't trying to be a Debbie Downer at all. I think the only concerns I really have with the show, and because I've watched so much Terminator and I've always wanted it to go right, is I have two major questions.
Yep.
Where does this exist in whichever timeline they have decided to choose?
Right.
And who are these people in relation to the main story? Or like, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like I get this is 0. I assume 0 means the beginning, a binary number. Right. It's like, okay, we're starting before 1. Maybe that's the vibe. And the first episode, I was left like, I wanted to feel an attachment to certain characters, and Malcolm just didn't do it for me right off the rip. He's very cold. He's
extremely cold.
Yeah.
He is kind of the machine, right?
Yeah, and I was like, I know I'm supposed to get attached to characters right off the rip, and like, when I think of Terminator, I think Sarah Connor was supposed to be like the girl next door, and like Terminator 2, then you have John when he's young, and you're like supposed to relate to these guys really, really quickly. Malcolm is very calculated, very angry, and very prophetic. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
He's like he could see, he knows that it's coming.
Like a doomsayer.
Yeah, and like he hasn't told anybody per se. He's just like working, you know what I mean, in the shadows, and it's hard for me to relate to him. And I guess I feel for his kids, because it's like, maybe
he's never home.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, man, how am I supposed to like feel good for this guy? And like when he's never home for his kids, and he's got like this babysitter,
right?
And then I guess here's another negative is the voice acting, at least in English. It's pretty rough. I watched it once in English, and then I watched it in Japanese. It is much better in Japanese. I think the voice acting in English is pretty
flat.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's pretty rough. I think the subtitles and like the I don't know which one it was recorded in originally, which is kind of strange because it's Terminator.
Japanese.
Yeah, but then it's Terminator. Japanese. So like, isn't this more of a Western property, I guess you would say? I'm not saying the Eastern property can't have it. It's just kind of strange,
I think with it all like being centered around Japan, even though he's talking about LA time, I think that's in reference to like the actual like Doomsday LA first existence.
Yes.
Because so going back to what you were saying about timeline, where does this sit in the timeline? I think this is happening in concurrence with like Um, probably
Probably one, right? One, because
probably one. I feel like there's like a large section of, because with the time travel part, obviously it's happening after 1, 2, and to all the 3 and all that stuff. Like it's already happening after. But because
yeah.
it's time traveling, it's also happening before. And so I think this is in
Okay.
concurrence it's like in concurrence to the whole Sarah Connor thing. Because obviously in one timeline, they fail and blow up the Earth. So this may be the initial timeline where they fail
Kind of like
before
tying them
they
all
do the back in
together,
time.
like tying
Yeah.
everything, kind of making it seem like everything we've ever seen in Terminator is, I guess, lack for a better word, canon.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how I feel about that, because there's a lot of Terminators I wish that didn't exist.
Well, that's the truth.
You know?
And then the second part on this is with it being anime and being produced in Japan, like I think that their general society structure varies so different compared to like the standard American structure that we're
Mhm.
looking at for most like of the American Terminators. So like the dad is being like the stoic sacrifice, like he's going in there knowing he's trying to fight the world and not panic his children. So I understand why that character's like that, especially having considering like myself watched so much anime recently. Like I can see a lot of like traditional character standardization inside
Mhm.
of him. I'm gonna have to watch it again in Japanese to see how it feels for that. But he's that very stoic. I want to be the hero character, which means I know he's gonna die real soon. But uh, I think that I think right now, I think they're just establishing what the character's like standard motivation is supposed to be, and then as we continue through, we'll each get like backgrounds behind each of the characters that are going to survive past the first episode here.
Yeah, I can see that. I didn't, outside of that, that was really my only concerns. Is just I kind of wanted to know the purpose of this, and I imagine based on what Netflix was saying that this is a reboot, kind of like
Yeah.
trying to get the series or Terminator back on its feet, because it's like,
hmm
I mean, every time they try to make a sequel based off of 1 and 2, it just never works. I've yet to see any sequel that has really landed or resonated with audiences quite yet.
Yeah, that makes two of us. I don't think that you can. I don't think you can follow up Terminator. And I think I don't even think it has to do with bad writing or good acting or bad acting or bad release windows. I just think that anything that features time travel, you immediately like extremely limit the like number of like viable storylines. Like
True.
it's damn near impossible to come out of a time travel loop and not feel like you're either attempting to retcon an entire series or you're making a fruitless fight because you know that it's going to just get changed later.
I think that's why I love the fact that it's animated, because it really does take that new perspective. After all the years of everything, I even saw the Sarah Chronicles a little bit. I know that
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not bad. I would just put it like almost like in the middle. But I didn't. I guess I wasn't off put too much. Surprisingly, yet. I mean, I hope that it continues to snowball and get better. That's my hope. So
Yeah. I loaded it. It was anime, and immediately in my head, my brain separated from the original Terminator series.
that's good.
And
That's
so
actually a good thing.
yeah, for just a moment, my brain said, "This is a new show," and I think that that's probably one of the best things that can happen to him.
Now, my question is the wrap up question, unless you have more to add, is can you recommend this to somebody, or would you say don't watch this? Because it's only streamed on Netflix, by the way. That's it.
Right.
So that's a tall order to ask just to subscribe to Netflix if you really just want to watch this series. Is it enough for somebody new coming in? Do you recommend or not?
Okay. My question here is then: have they seen or do they know anything about the Terminator
It's
series?
funny. That's kind of where I was going at too. Let's go ahead and say that they don't know anything about Terminator.
If they know absolutely nothing, if they are a fan of animation, anime, all that style stuff, I'd say go for it.
That's
I
pretty. That's
think
pretty good.
Yeah, I think that it's because it's an entirely new perspective on the old series. They are having them not know something about it gives them a lot more room to enjoy where this could go potentially.
Yeah, because the animation is good. Just because it has that grit to it. I'm a little stricter. I would say it's only good to watch if you're a Terminator fan.
Okay.
It's just in my perspective. The only issue I have is that if somebody is coming new into it, I guess you can separate it from it. Then it just feels like it's really hard to like understand what in the world is going on. Like that first episode, I mean, I guess like you see the robot, kind of turning and like I don't know, you see the things start to happen. But I feel like that has more weight when you understand what the franchise is.
Yeah. I felt like they did a really, really good job of like a cold open on it this time around.
Yeah.
Especially considering it's an animation, it's not a movie, it's not something that you're expected to sit down and watch 2.5 hours for what could be or couldn't be a good payoff. It literally opens up, combat, thing gets fried, you see it's a demon robot from hell, and then combat fight. And so it quickly establishes like dystopian struggle, human versus now you see robot, and then they're attempting to get information, and it's literally like all laid out to you in like the first 5 minutes. And I think that's probably one of the things that makes animation just succeed so much faster at storytelling, despite the fact that they're notorious for dragging stuff out. But they succeed so well at storytelling because they can do so much, where I feel like modern day cinema does so much more monologuing to have to explain things.
I agree with that. I also agree with I'm going to piggyback off that a bit about the animation also helps you just accept a lot of stuff. When I watched Terminator Genesis and things started happening that were like outside the realm of what I normally see, like in terms of technology, you start seeing a little bit ridiculous. But whenever it's an animation, kind of like Ghost in a Shell, you just, I don't know why, when it comes to animation, you just buy it. You accept it.
Yeah.
I know like Ghost in a Shell, when it was translated on screen, I know that it wasn't perfect with Scarlett Johansson, but like I was like, no, I'm just not into this. Like it didn't work. And there's something about just the animation that just tells you like your brain just kind of like, I don't know why, it just kind of gets fooled into like, okay, this is the boundaries of this universe. But if you try to apply it, these are the boundaries of my own universe, like your brain doesn't accept it for some reason.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. It's just the uncanny valley. Things get so close to looking real, but we know that they're not, and so it just automatically kills the belief system. Whereas inside of a world in which all this stuff already exists, you don't question it.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're talking about The Lion King when you have the CGI. You're just like, it's almost nightmare fuel.
It is nightmare fuel. Yeah.
Your brain is like real fake. What is like you're trying to decipher. And I know you rewatched it recently, Aliens 2 or Aliens. Yep. Isn't it crazy how much you buy that universe and how gritty and real it feels?
Yeah, it's because it's all practical effects, and that's
so good
for a whole nother time.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe we'll do a whole video on practical effects. So I know our review kind of went off the rails there, and I guess we stay true to it. If you guys enjoyed, let us know. Comment down below if you want us to continue reviewing this whole series from top to bottom. I think it has a really strong start, pretty unique approach. It's I do want to watch more. I won't lie. I do want to watch more. I'm just fearful. I'm cynical. I'm cynical, if you will. Fire, thank you so much. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll speak more, and we'll see you guys all in the comment section. Bye, everybody.